So it was formerly called Luz, this place that he goes to on his way, on his travels. So just for people that are in the audience listening, like he's going up, he's going north through from where he was with his father Isaac, and he's going to go north. He's going to pass this place called Luz, also Bethel. He's going to pass this on the way and stay overnight here because he's got quite a journey to go, probably another 2 or 3 days journey to go. And he stays here and he has his dream, and he's like, this is the gate of heaven.
Yeah.
So does that mean that all this angelic activity was already happening at this location?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There is, some speculation. I think you previously mentioned this on this broadcast that this place was probably maybe where the Garden of Eden was before, and that this place, even after this time with Jacob, this place still has some significance. So, I wonder if this gate of heaven that he's talking about is one of the 7 gates that we see mentioned in the flood account and in the book of Enoch.
It's possible. As far as having a dual nature within that gate, to either let water in or to be a point of access, it's possible. Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that he's realizing all this activity that's happening here. So he wants to rename this place. So that means whoever lived there already didn't know all this activity was happening here.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is it still happening there today?
That's a good question.
Guys, this is over. Like, we can get to this place today.
Yeah.
I
had that thought as I was reading this portion. Of course, I wanted to go to Israel, and I've never been there, but just to see these historical landmarks and places like this, because of course you have, one of my wishes is to, of course, have angelic interaction on this side of the resurrection and be aware of it happening. So I don't know if that would increase your odds of that happening if you were to go there. Who knows?
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And what possibly other places around the earth are their points where angels come down to do their jobs, to the peoples and the nations on the earth that we don't know about. I guess what's interesting to me about this is that it's just Jacob gets, for just a moment, he gets a glimpse of the stuff that happens on a daily basis. And I just think it's fascinating. Actually, it's truly, truly fascinating. Let me pull this up real quick. So Genesis 28, it opens up, without telling Isaac of Esau's murderous intent toward Jacob, Rebekah encourages her husband Isaac to send Jacob to Laban's house to take a wife from their extended family up there. So Esau, he saw Isaac's disapproval of his Hittite wives by his parents. So he took an additional wife from Ishmael's descendants. So it's interesting. What did you think about this? Because it seems almost as if I could just speculate, because the text doesn't tell us, it just seems as if Esau is trying at this point to somehow get into the good graces of his parents, because he's realizing like his behavior led to him not getting the blessing, the money, the power, the wealth. And so it's almost like he's trying to like course correct a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I have that speculation too, suspicion, but I think he's going at it from the wrong angle. Maybe there's some other things he should address first before just, let me just add another wife and hope that my parents are good with it. Because let's say even if his third wife were not one that brought a lot of despair to Rebekah and Isaac, you still have those 2 wives that are a problem. So I don't really know how that's going to help.
Yeah, that's right. And so putting last chapter and this chapter together with Esau's mindset, right? He's thinking Isaac's going to die soon. That's why he says the days of Isaac's mourning are, at hand, basically. Isaac's going to die soon. And then after Isaac dies, Esau plans to kill Jacob. But in the meantime, he's receiving flack from his parents, Isaac and Rebekah, because of his marital choices with the Hittite women. And his mother disapproves of the women so much that she wants to send Jacob hundreds of miles away to live with another family member to find a wife from there, after Jacob has received the blessing for the power, the honor, the money, all that kind of stuff, right? So isn't this interesting that from the mindset of Esau, he's like, all right, now the guy that I want to kill and take over his position of authority has been moved away, so now I don't know what's going to happen of him, right? And he's going to our family's house, Laban, and they have money and power too. So like, I don't want to, like, he would have to now. He knows that if Jacob is going to, like the culture of that day, if Jacob is going to go live with Laban, he's going to go serve Laban and be under Laban's authority now.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's going to have to deal with Laban if he wants to go kill Jacob.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So there's like all these extra protection things being added to Jacob, not just getting away from him geographically, putting some physical distance between them, but also now he's under someone else's authority. I mean, we're going to read about this next week, right? As Jacob has to leave Laban's authority suddenly because he's being abused. But it's very interesting because Esau's definitely not going to get his way, right? He wants to be patient because he fears Isaac.
Yep.
But then at the same time, because he has to be patient, now Jacob is getting removed out of his grasp. Yeah. So it's interesting. Like the father's just good, he's just a masterful chess player,
Exactly.
And Esau, he thinks it's funny because Esau definitely did not tell Rebekah or Isaac he plans to kill Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
The father revealed that to Rebekah supernaturally.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this, guys, for all of you out there that, the whole secret sins idea. Think like I'm not saying that everybody hasn't done something that they don't want being known, but if it's going to, like in this case, Esau's secret desire, his secret sin, planning to kill Jacob, which has now become the Lord's anointed, the Lord is going to now step in and make his plans known so that his sins are revealed to defend. And meanwhile, Esau doesn't know that Rebekah knows this.
Mm-hmm.
She just thinks, oh, well, my mom and dad are sending Jacob to go find a wife amongst our extended family.
Yeah.
See how that worked? Like that's wild to me because like Esau thinks he's slick. He thinks he's smart. Like he's going to be able to get away with planning this overthrow, if you will, of the authority given to Jacob, When the father's like, nah, bro, I know exactly what you're thinking. And I'm already working behind the scenes to not let you accomplish your evil deeds. So just be encouraged, guys. I know that we see, especially in this modern time, we see so many unrighteous rulers plotting against their own people in their countries with improper forces of medical tyranny as well as political tyranny in different ways. They're trying to enforce a plan that is basically communism worldwide, and they're trying to do this by force through legislation and regulation, through the manipulation of markets, through medical tyranny, and the people are praying right now in many different countries for the Father to step in and stop this. I just want you to be encouraged if you're listening out there. He knows the hearts of everyone. He knows the minds of these wicked rulers who are trying to enforce this and disrupt everyone's life and economy and put them into a form of subjugation. Now, Hannibal, you're in Sweden, right?
Yep. In Sweden.
Have you guys faced some unique changes in the last year and a half?
Well, surprisingly enough, Sweden, for being a socialistic country, we've had remarkably few amount of restrictions. We didn't have any lockdown, no mask mandate, and nothing really going on. But I think in terms of freedom for the general individual in Sweden, we're at a pretty low level. So I think the mindset is pretty much, they're already submissive. So there's nothing really to, there's no need to push them down any further. But now we're seeing it being expanded all throughout Europe. The mandates and whatever. But just for everyone that's listening, just be encouraged. When we're reading this Torah portion, know that Yah has everything under control, and just all your anxiety, throw it on him, because he's faithful to take it and to help you through that situation. You see, even me in Sweden, you guys in America might think that, I don't have any liberties to begin with, right? But in Yah, I am so free that I don't have any anxiety about what could come around the corner. So just be encouraged.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, guys, be encouraged. The Father knows what's going on. He's actively working to stop evil people all the time. He's actively working. Otherwise, the world would already be dead. So he's actively, it's a constant spiritual battle that is going on around us. But guys, this is interesting. We see while traveling to Haran, Jacob stayed the night at Luz, and Yahweh gave him a dream of angels moving up and down a ladder to heaven above, and the Lord at the top of the ladder, reaffirming the covenant to him that was also made with Abraham and Isaac. So this is fascinating because in addition to seeing this incredible vision of these angels going about their daily business and moving around, we have the Lord Now, what do we think? Is this a pre-incarnate Yeshua? Is this Yahweh himself? What do we think?
I believe it's an angel.
You think it maybe an angel that he's referring to as the Lord, and the translator just capitalized that L?
I think it's the concept of agency once again, that we have this representative of the Father, knowing that we can't see him in this flesh and live, and there's also prophecies about the Messiah being concealed until it was his time to appear. So I don't.
Yeah. So if this wasn't, it would be a little more consistent, I guess, is what I think I'm hearing from you, that with everything that we've read about how much angelic interaction is, and the Lord being represented by angels in multiple, both in real life interactions as well as in visions and dreams.
Exactly.
It would make a lot of sense with consistency to say this was an angel as well. But we do have like visions from Enoch and Daniel, where in a vision, in a dream, they see Yahweh, the Almighty, and don't die because it's not real, right? It's a vision, it's a dream.
Like Isaiah chapter 6.
Yeah, and also Isaiah, he sees Ezekiel, right? So there it is possible, but I would say, as far as consistency of the text, it's probably in another angel that is the one that's been leading him, guiding him, speaking to him on a constant basis, that kind of thing. Especially if he's the one that's going to be taking over the priesthood. So
now, in terms of the creation model, when Jacob is looking up in his dream and seeing through the gate of heaven, what level do you think he's looking at? If you were to speculate, do you think he's seeing all the way up to the top, where he could actually be seeing the Father if he's in the Spirit?
Well, let's look at the text real quick.
Yeah.
So it says here, this is going to be in verse 12. It says, Jacob had a dream about a ladder that rested on the earth with its top reaching up to heaven. So that would say it's just within, it's underneath the first layer, in my understanding. Yeah. And these are the angels coming and going inside our enclosure, underneath our firmament. So I don't personally, from the text, delete my answer to the question. My understanding would be he's not seeing into multiple layers. He's just seeing all the interaction happening between the ground and the firmament above us, and how they're coming and going.
Yeah, and then I do think it makes sense, if we want to be consistent, that it is actually an angel that is representing the Father then, if we were to assume that the Father didn't come down for that specific moment to the first firmament layer.
Yeah, but it's a great question. Yeah, because I mean, like, we see Levi and his prophecy that he was, or his vision he was given, he saw it in multiple layers. Same thing with Abraham and the Apocalypse of Abraham. So yeah, it's a great question. All right, let me see here. What else? Real quick, we'll finish up this summary and get to our companion passages. Jacob names that place Bethel, which I believe means the house of God, right?
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons why I theorized this was the former location of the Garden of Eden. That the garden was smaller, this geographical area, obviously not just this specific little spot where he stopped and had a dream, but the general geographical area. Because I believe, as I've mentioned in multiple videos, that the garden, a walled-off structure, it was its own kingdom, and within it, it had multiple things, as various scriptures describe, and but it was encompassing a specific location within what we know today as the territory of Israel or Judea, and this is where Bethel is placed. So this is why I think it's interesting. There's all this angelic activity, and Jacob comes to this unique realization and kind of freaks out. He gets really excited. And he's like, this is the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. He gets all excited. So I think it's almost as if he's coming to it's a definitely, let me say it like this, it's definitely a grander reaction and realization than Jacob's growing up with Esau and this angel of the presence being present in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I mean? So there's something very significant about this place. Jacob sets up a stone to mark the event, location, and promises given to give a tenth to Yahweh from whatever Yahweh blesses him with, if he keeps him safe on his journey. So Jacob is how should I say this? Jacob is calling upon the Father to make sure that the terms of the covenant are in place. So what I mean by that, Hannibal, is he's like, look, I'm gonna set this stone here because this amazing event happened. Right. I'm sure it was kind of like a big pillar, honestly, but I'm gonna set this stone here to mark the event and the occasion. And I'm going to do the covenant behavior, which is I'll give you a tenth. If you just keep me safe in this journey and get me back home. Because he doesn't know he's going to be at Laban's house for 20 years yet. We're going to see that in the next week. He doesn't
I
know
have
how
a
long he's going to be there.
I have a speculation because in the previous chapter where Isaac's saying that I'm old and my eyesight has grown dim and I don't know when I'm going to die,
That's right.
and then with you saying that he didn't know that he's going to spend 2 decades with Laban, and in the last part of verse 22 in verse 20 in chapter 28 where it says, "I will give you a tenth if you help me get back home," it sounds like he's saying, if you help me get back home safe, then when I can step into my priesthood, then I'll be doing the covenant by giving you a tenth, which is a part of the duties for the priests.
Well, yeah. In addition to that, whomever he would be, because remember in Genesis 35, he goes back to Bethel and has his
Yeah.
whole family, consecrate themselves and get ready. Then he goes back to Bethel to give offering. And so I think that in addition to Jacob, remember we have these other priests that are running around that are descendants from the Melchizedek order that have descendants of Eber. So that's where I think that he can still fulfill the tithe of his first fruits, if you will. He can still fulfill that throughout his life. He doesn't know he's about to be gone for 2 decades. But what I mean by calling the terms of the covenant to mind in this prayer to Yahweh is that in the terms of the covenant, as we see in Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28 and 29, that if you do the covenant, Yahweh will protect you also, physically protect you also.
Yeah.
So he's calling upon that promise for physical protection because he knows that Esau wants to kill him and he's going on a journey. I don't know if he's ever left his house before this moment. I don't know how far he's traveled away from his family, and he's definitely by himself, So anyway, just a thought.